Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. Nice to see you, Graham, again. So before we start today's talk, we'll just do a little bit of an icebreaker before everyone kind of trickles in. So today's an interesting question, but I thought this would be fun to try since we're talking about communication. So it was like, if you could communicate using one emoji all day, which would you pick? Because that's generally such a great way of communicating, right? Emojis. um, does anybody want to start? Grandma, I see you smiling or laughing.
Well, typically, I use different emojis when I'm communicating. I'll chat with coworkers um, throughout the day, but also we have huddles in the later part of the week, so it's just a team meeting, and so some of us will, throw emojis. Usually, mine are is the one with the glasses and the guy smiling with sunglasses. So I don't know. I usually do that just because I'll put exclamation points after my comments, and I don't want people to think I'm yelling. I mean, so I'll put that. I'm just trying to be cool and chilly.
That's nice. Let's see. I would have to think about this. I think the glasses emoji is pretty nice. I'm just gonna check what emojis are there. I really like the one that's just like widely smiling with the teeth. I feel like that's nice just to be smiling. But then, because you never know what they're feeling inside, so it's like kind of two-faced. Um, yeah.
I think there's like two ways to approach it. One is what is actually the most practical in terms of communicating, and the other is which one do you actually enjoy using the most?
Oh yeah.
In terms of practicality, I think the thumbs up emoji would be the most useful. Whereas if it was more of a which one would I just want to use for fun all day, I feel like I really like using the eyes emoji or like the rocket ship emoji.
Very interesting. Yeah, definitely the thumbs up would be great because then you could just thumbs up everything. All right.
I typically, although I use the sunglasses emoji, um, occasionally I'll do the one with the tears, depending on the smiling with tears because you're happy, you're crying about something you're happy about. Sad, because somebody's in the hospital or you know end of their life, that sort of thing. But again, and I do the thumbs up, but just the thumbs up. The one that you got there, I like that because it's like saying, okay, in addition to the thumbs up, hey man, we're on board here.
Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Now we'll just get into our talk. And before we do that, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. So we have Shri joining us today all the way from Naperville. I first met Shri when she came to conduct a mindfulness seminar at our university, and that was really nice. And I got to learn so much more. And she's so great at making Bhakti Yoga practical. So I was just so inspired by that. And professionally, she's an HR director. She's also an empathic communication trainer, a yoga instructor, and also a homeschooling mom, which is all amazing. Um, and we're so grateful to have her join us and give her time from her busy schedule. And we're also really grateful for those listening online on YouTube. We've got some people. And then if you would like to join, you can also join the Zoom for the interactive workshop so we can all chat on Zoom as well. But yeah, thank you so much, Shri, and we're so excited to hear what you have about empathic communication for us. I think we really all need some of that in today's world. Over to you.
Myself included. I teach what I most need to learn. So that's why I'm here. It's nice to meet you, Graham and Ayan and Nidhi and whoever's on YouTube. And I am joined by my son, Jiva, today. We like to do our presentations together and make them fun. So hopefully we'll have some fun together. So wanted to start off with, why do you think learning ways of communication might be important? How might it be relevant in your life?
I feel like it's really important because it stops a lot of conflict from happening that maybe you don't want it to happen.
So helps to avoid conflict, okay, or address conflict. Thank you.
I think one of the things that I've realized in tech in the last decade or so is that eventually, like, work's fine. People will always learn technology, evolve, but communication is the key. Like, managing folks is the key, and trying to be able to communicate what you're exactly meaning is super important, at least in the industry as far as today's world's concerned. Although I definitely agree that it's important in personal life as well. But like, I've, I feel like the more I grow into the tech industry, I realize that communication and empathetic communication is like the key to everything.
Wow. So Nidhi's really bringing up this aspect of how important it is in our professional lives as well. So definitely in our, personal lives, but it seems like relationships govern everything. And when relationships are okay, you can work other things out, the technology and the processes and other stuff at work. Thank you, Nidhi. Appreciate it. All right. So let's dive in. So what I have been learning and teaching for the last several years is something called empathic communication, also known as nonviolent communication. And the reason I've been studying this is because, like you both said, Mani and Nidhi, I think communication is really important. And I struggled with communication. It was a lifelong struggle. I would say things with a certain intention, and they would land in a different way with people. The intention, the impact didn't always match. And I would have the right message, but I didn't always communicate it in the right way. So I would ruffle feathers. And so I decided, hey, you know what? This is an area of growth for me. So I'm just going to dedicate myself to learning this because, again, that's the best way to learn it, to teach it. So for the last 7 to 8 years, I've been learning and I'm a trainer. And I want to get some guesses on what's with this title. So if you paid attention to what I named the title, Tame Your Jackal, Unleash Your Giraffe. an empathic communication workshop. So wait a second, where's all this jackal and giraffe talk coming from? Any guesses?
I actually don't even know what a jackal looks like, but I guess one difference I can see is the giraffe is really tall and maybe gets a better perspective than a jackal, which might be a smaller animal, I guess.
Wow. Thank you, Ayan. Yeah, it's not a common animal. Like, we don't see it in the city, right? We don't see it in our suburbs. So yeah, like what does it look like? And I've often heard that from folks. It's like, I don't even know what a jackal sounds like. So thank you. And I love the perspective on the long neck, the tall neck. Graham, were you going to say something?
The jackal is wild. They're essentially a desert coyote, not to be trusted. I mean, you call somebody a jackal, that's derogatory because they're just looking for anything just to grab something.
Yeah.
And giraffes, um, I mean, they've got their own issues, but giraffes, they're almost humorous in a way because you see them fighting, the bulls, fighting, and they've got these prongs that they're hitting each other in the neck with, and it seems comical, but these guys are serious. I mean, they're fighting over mates. But again, I like Ayan's analogy where the giraffe is higher up there and see, okay, I know what's going on up down there because I can see you, and the jackal is like in the bushes, and so I see it. I would much rather be a giraffe than a jackal.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so something around, the manipulative nature, the difference in the perspective on life, as well as just the nature and the intentions and so forth. Thank you. Jiva, you had something to add about giraffes? Go ahead.
I mean, I think because she already told me.
Okay.
The giraffe has the bigger heart, and it has a longer neck, so it has a better perspective. So those two things are why. And you want to be a giraffe, not a jackal.
So not to be judgmental on any animal, but the jackal has this howl. I don't know if you've ever heard this eerie howl. Yeah. So the jackal talk. Here's my jackal puppet. So the jackal talk can have this, howling nature to it. And like Ayan said, giraffes have these long necks. So it's a symbol or an analogy for a long-term perspective on relationships rather than a short-term relationship. And of all land animals, giraffes have the largest heart because they need to pump blood up through this long neck to their brain. So because it has the largest heart of all land animals, it's a symbol. It's used as a symbol of empathic communication, this expansive heart. So with empathic communication, we want to tame our jackals because all of us have judgmental thoughts, right? How irresponsible, or like, he cut me off, or, all of these jackal thoughts. So we want to we don't want to dismiss our jackal. Our judgments have very important messages behind them, but we want to tame them. And we want to learn some tools and tricks for unleashing the giraffe, the big heart, the long-term relationship within us. So we're going to just move through 3 exercises, and this is going to be really interactive. So I'm going to depend on all of you to participate. But first, empathic communication is based on this principle from the Bhagavad Gita of austerity of speech from chapter 17, text 15. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyaya bhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. I'm going to request, Ayan, would you be willing to read the translation?
Yes. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature.
So it's one thing to speak truth. And sometimes, some people say, I just speak the truth, my authentic truth. I give it to people the way it is. I tell them the way they are. Yeah. But that's not it. The Bhagavad Gita is saying truthful, but also pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating. So speaking truth with care. Sometimes we can err too much on the side of care and not know how to speak our authentic truth. So that was an incredible class. Oh my God, that seminar you did, it was just like mind blowing, without any feedback because there could have been some room for improvement. So this is a place where we want to do both. Speak our authentic truth, but with care for the impact and for how it lands on others. So in order to do that, the first thing is we want to check our perceptions. There's a link between how we perceive things and the emotions that it generates within us. Yeah. So, for example, the last empathic communication seminar I was doing was in Texas just a week ago or so, in person, the last in-person seminar I did. And I had these candles. I like to take candles for my seminars, the battery operated, really beautiful. And so right before my seminar, I observed that somebody had put one of my candles like on the floor near where, everybody was sitting. And I had placed them all neatly and I'd arranged them for my seminar. And so the first thing I said is, somebody stole my candle. Now, the way I perceive what happens influences my emotions, right? So if I use the word stole, it affects how I think about it or how I think about the person. And often something like stealing is going to provoke a negative emotion in me about the person. Whereas what we want to do with empathic communication is learn to make observations. Okay. So with observations, it's like recording it with a camera. Yeah. So a video camera would not record that somebody stole something. A video camera would record there is a candle sitting on the floor. So just the facts. Okay, so this is going to be interactive. This particular statement, my boss hates everything I do. Is this an observation or is it an evaluation or a judgment?
Evaluation or
Okay.
judgment.
Okay, so it's a judgment or an evaluation.
I would have to agree.
Right. Thanks, Graham. Because we use the word hates, right? Like, how do I know that? Can I record that with a camera? No. But if I were to convert this to an observation, I could say, my boss said, I hate everything you do. Now that's a quote, right? So that is an observation because I could have recorded that with a camera. Or I could say, when I turned in the report, my boss said, or my boss looked at me and made an expression that I perceived to be angry. So here I am taking responsibility for my perception of how they look. So let's do another one together. They won't let me do it in the right way. Is that an observation or an evaluation? Jiva wants to try this one?
Evaluation.
It's an evaluation. Okay. Why do you say that?
Because it says, I don't know, it just feels like it would.
Yeah.
Like they won't let me do it.
Yeah.
It should be like they didn't want me to write the report because I don't have good writing skills. I don't know.
So Jiva says it's an evaluation, which I agree with. And perhaps to convert this to an observation, one could say, they told me don't write the report that way.
Because I don't write very good.
They told me that I don't write very well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this one. Could someone help me with this? She never listens. Is that an observation or an evaluation?
That's a difficult one.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's a difficult one because it could go either way. Because you know, because of somebody's track record. Hey, I think we could. No. Well, how about if we? No.
Yeah. So I'm having a little difficulty hearing you. Your voice is a little muffled. I don't know if it's muffled for everybody else too. But what I think you said, Graham, is this one is the tough one. Because if you say something and somebody snaps at you or something like that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's wrong with my microphone on my webcam. It seemed like I had the problem resolved, but I may have to, reconfigure it. When I try to reconfigure it during a Zoom session, it doesn't let me, but I'll have to do that.
Yeah, it's
My
decent
apologies.
enough. No, it's decent enough, but not totally clear. Yeah. Yeah, so she never listens. Any other thoughts on this? Is this an observation or an evaluation?
I think it's an evaluation because it seems like a generalization was made. There's no, I guess, supporting observations to back up the claim.
How do you know that she's not listening? Right? So it's one thing to say, I asked her to pick up the books and she didn't do it. But you don't know if she listened to you or not. She might have very well listened to you and just not done it. So yeah, it's quite a generalization because it also says she never listens. He gets in my way. Observation or evaluation?
I feel like it's still an evaluation.
Tell me more.
It feels like there's not much context like the previous one on what they mean by gets in my way, but it could also be an observation if it was more clear, I guess. I feel like it's a little ambiguous, but I would lean towards an evaluation maybe.
Yeah, so he gets in my way is you can imagine that it would probably provoke negative feelings in you if you thought of someone as getting in your way. Versus if you were to say something like, I wanted to do a class on empathic communication, and he said, that's not a good idea. That's something you can record with the camera. Were you going to add something to that, Graham? I see your mic is unmuted.
My wheels are turning. No, I'd have to agree with Manya because it's more of a. It's as if somebody's just either just not open to suggestions or just you're trying to do something and you try to go into a room and use room for a purpose and he's already there, or I don't know, again it can be very vague, but I think it's an evaluation.
And vague can often leave room for conflict. It can leave room for ambiguity or different interpretations. So more and more, we want to move towards the giraffe way of communication, which makes clear observations instead of evaluative statements. Because guess what? Evaluations provoke defensiveness in people. So when I say, and let me see if there's other examples. So if I say something like he derails every meeting, it probably shoots me in the foot in terms of connecting with the person. Because when we use words like derail, every meeting, we're probably disconnecting ourselves from people. And connection is the basis of, like Nidhi was saying, everything depends on connection or relationships, processes, and working things out and outcomes. So what we want to work with empathic communication is on connection. And the first step of connection is the art of making observations. So the giraffe makes observations rather than the jackal that makes evaluations. So we're going to move on. Thank you for your participation in that exercise. We're going to move to this exercise, which is called a lunch date with Bob. Okay. So let's imagine this scenario. Bob is one of your coworkers, and you find out, you find out that Bob told Susan, I really don't think this person likes me. They're always saying things that sabotage my meetings. And so you find out from Susan that Bob has said some things about you that you would perceive to be negative. So you decide, you know what, it's really important to work things out in relationships. I'm going to invite Bob for a lunch date. I'm going to request Bob to meet me at Applebee's at 12 o'clock. So you tell Bob, hey, Bob, would you be willing to meet me at 12 at Applebee's? And Bob says,
Why not?
why not? Okay. So you're like, great, you've got this lunch date with Bob. All right, I'll see you at Applebee's at 12, Bob.
Bye.
Okay. And it's the next day now, and you're at Applebee's. And it's 12 o'clock, and Bob hasn't shown up, but it's 12. And then it's 12:10, it's 12:15, it's 12:30, it's 12:45. And Bob still hasn't shown up for your lunch date. There's no text, there's no phone call, there's no email, nothing. So, if that's the situation, I want to know how you might feel. And because we don't often have a large vocabulary of feelings, I'm going to help you. Here's a QR code, and I wonder if you want to take your phone and scan it. This is a list of feelings. So there'll be two things that come up when you scan this QR code. It's a link to a website. There'll be a list of feelings when needs are met, which is the first list that comes up. And then there's a list of feelings when needs are not met. So that's just if you need help. And if you don't need help, that's great too. So tell me how you might feel if it's 12:45 and Bob hasn't shown up.
Disappointed.
Angry and worried.
Okay. So I heard, let's go with disappointed first. And what might be your thought, Graham? Why would you be disappointed?
Well, the meeting was at 12 o'clock and he's 45 minutes late, and he hasn't communicated in any form that,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm late. I mean, it's possible that he's delayed in traffic, or worst case scenario, an accident.
Okay, so I heard a few things. You're disappointed because he's 45 minutes late and he hasn't communicated. But I also heard, oh, worst case, it might be an accident. And if that's your thought, what might you be feeling, Graham?
Concern.
Uh-huh. Thank you. I also heard Nidhi or someone else say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say angry, which I think goes with disappointment, kind of, and similar thoughts like he's late and there's no communication, almost like he's not valuing other people's time, and
Ah,
then concerned or worried because Like hope everything's all right. Um, Hope they're not stuck with something.
Thank you. Okay. Any other feelings? It's 12:45. Bob hasn't shown up.
I would maybe get impatient thinking about, oh, if Bob shows up at 1 o'clock instead of ending at 2 o'clock, it's gonna end at 3 o'clock and it's gonna push my full day behind schedule by an hour.
Thank you. Yeah.
Happy.
Happy. Tell me why you might be happy.
Because now I have more free time to play Fortnite.
More free time to play Fortnite. So in the exact same situation, somebody else might be happy. Okay. Any uh-huh. Any other positive feelings you can think of if somebody doesn't show up for a meeting? I have one right here. Jiva says relief. Tell me more. Why would you?
Your day was packed, and now you have time to, I don't know, get Starbucks.
Okay, so I might feel relieved. When I work, I have nonstop meetings from like 9 to 6 p.m. And when my meetings get canceled, to be honest, I feel relief because I feel like, oh my God, I finally have some space to eat my lunch or like time, go to Starbucks instead of a packed day. Thank you. Anything else?
Almost similar to what Ayan said, but kind of anxious because um, you almost start wondering of the rest of the things you have planned for the day, and you start juggling as to whether or not you'll be able to complete those, or your whole routine is for toss. But like very similar to what Ayan said, but rather than impatient, like I'll probably be anxious.
What about anything around, this was going to be a tough conversation, right? And I don't know about all of you, but I mean, I find it tough to have tough conversations sometimes. Any feelings that might come up for you if you don't have to have a tough conversation?
I just wanted to say, I mean, the relief that Jiva expressed right there, that's a scenario where you've heard the expression, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I like his attitude.
I was gonna add that maybe I would feel a little hurt because I invited Bob to kind of make our relationship better because I thought that they didn't like me. So I would feel really hurt that maybe it reinforces my previous feelings that they don't, feel the same way.
Do I matter? Yeah. Another
Agree.
one. Huh? You were going to say something?
Oh, I would agree with that, definitely.
Yeah. I feel hurt. Do I matter? And another one might be just again comfort, because like I said earlier, sometimes I find it tough to have tough conversations. So I can be a little conflict avoidant sometimes. And phew, I don't have to have this tough conversation today. I'm not always feeling resourced enough to have tough conversations. Sometimes I have better capacity and sometimes less. Okay, so notice nothing has changed in the situation. Okay, Bob is still 45 minutes late. And I could be angry. Man, this guy doesn't value my time. And hurt, like, do I matter? Or in the exact same situation, I could be happy. I got more time to play Fortnite. Or relieved. This creates some spaciousness. I have time to just sometimes I like to take a nap. If a meeting gets canceled, I like to take a nap. So I can get a nap, might be my thought. And again, I might feel some, yeah. So I might feel restful because I got a nap. So, what are you noticing?
It's a plethora of emotions, really.
Could you repeat that, Grant?
Yeah, it's a plethora of emotions.
Yeah.
It encircles the spectrum.
With the exact same situation. You could have a spectrum of emotions, plethora of feelings. Jiva, you were saying something?
I mean, like your thoughts affect your perception of the incident. I don't know.
Yeah. So depending on what you think, if I'm, what happened to him? Is he okay? Then I'm worried. If I'm thinking he's not valuing my time, I'm angry. So my thoughts determine my perceptions. So, you know how sometimes we go around like blaming other people for like, I'm angry because he or she didn't da da da. Or I'm angry because my roommate is always playing loud music. Or do you ever blame other people for your emotions? I do. The fundamental concept of empathic communication is that our feelings are nobody else's responsibility. Our feelings are linked to what?
Our needs.
Our needs. So here's a beautiful tree. And under the ground are needs. We don't see them, but they drive us. I flourish when I nourish the needs beneath my feelings. And when my needs are met, look at the tree, how green it is. I feel elated. If my need for beauty and ease and equality are met, I feel elated, energetic, fascinated. If my need for trust is not met, I could feel pain. Notice how the tree is without leaves on this side. So what's under the ground, right? We only see the part of the tree that's above the ground. So needs are what drives our feelings. We don't see them, they're under the ground. But this is the fundamental concept of taking responsibility for our internal experience rather than he, she, they, you. No. I'm feeling because I. So if you can scan this QR code with your phone, this goes to a website that has this list of needs. And now we're going to go back to our lunch date with Bob. If I am feeling disappointed because he hasn't communicated, what is my need? Anybody?
I mean, the whole purpose of the lunch date with Bob was to clear the air. Okay, Bob, we seem to have a problem in this area or that, and just wanted to kind of, let you know where I am on this. So, to maybe coordinate um, goals or agendas.
Yeah, I'm hearing some need for clarity, some need for communication in what you're saying, Graham. Does that resonate for you?
Yes.
So if I have a need for clarity of like our goals, where are we at? What's our agenda in this relationship? I have a need for communication. Then I'm feeling disappointed that he hasn't shown up. But if I am feeling restful because I took a nap because he didn't show up, what was my need there? Jiva says rest.
Sleep.
Yeah, sleep. You know, I might have woken up at 4 a.m. that day, and I'm just so glad that one meeting got canceled and I could get some rest. So I had a need for rest or sleep. And so therefore, I'm feeling great because the guy hasn't shown up. If I am feeling concerned or worried, what could be my need?
A little similar to the last one, but maybe the need to be more informed
Uh-huh.
in someone's life and like to have some value in that relationship.
Okay. So in this particular case, if I'm thinking, oh my God, did he meet with an accident? I hope everything is okay. I mean, stuff happens in people's lives, right? If that's my thought and I'm feeling worried, I might have a need for safety for my friend or information. If I am feeling happy, Jiva, because man, the guy didn't show up for 45 minutes, I got to play Fortnite. What need is alive for me?
Fun, maybe connection if you want to play with your friends. I don't know.
Fun. I had a need for fun, so playing Fortnite met my need for fun. So I'm happy.
Break. I
Um,
mean, you need for like,
space, yeah.
yeah.
Or like he
Time
said,
off.
I might have had a need for connection, and playing Fortnite with my other friends met that need for connection. So I'm actually feeling happy that Bob didn't show up. So notice how nothing has changed. Bob has still not shown up for 45 minutes, but depending on my need, I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel worried, I feel relaxed. So this is a fundamental concept in empathic communication, taking responsibility for our feelings because they're related to our needs, not to someone else. And similarly, just like I have needs and every single action of mine is driven by needs, I also assume innocence on the part of others. Every human action is an attempt to meet a need no different from my own. Even the people that flew into the World Trade Center are human beings with needs. I don't agree with their strategy. Terrible strategy, violent strategy. But what was the need? To matter, for love, for belonging, for inclusion. Do I have those same needs? You betcha. This is the basis with which we connect with human beings and all forms of life, not just humans. And then there's strategies. People find strategies that we may not agree with, but the soul to soul connection on the basis of this assumption of innocence, that every action is an attempt to meet a need. So for the last 15 minutes, I'm going to bring this assumption of innocence to life with a role play. And that's where we're going to end. So in empathic communication, we learned that there are 4 ways to respond. Okay. And for this, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need one person, and maybe actually I'll choose Jiva. Okay. Because it might be easy to do it across here. So I'm going to request Jiva's help to do this role play. And I'm going to first demonstrate Jackal ways to respond. And then I'm going to demonstrate Giraffe ways to respond. Okay. So for this, actually, I'm going to use Jackal and Giraffe headbands. So I even have ears. I have Jackal ears and I have Giraffe ears. So when I wear Jackal ears facing out, that's when I'm sitting in this chair, which is called the blame others chair. Okay. So Jiva is going to give me a criticism and make it juicy, Jiva. Make it good.
You don't listen to whatever I say, and you're always just on your phone. Yeah.
Okay. So when I'm sitting in this blame others chair and I have my jackal ears facing out, I blame him. What? Who are you to tell me that I'm always on my phone? Do you know you are always on your phone? And like, excuse me, but you are 11 years old, and how dare you talk to me like this? Okay, anybody familiar with that? Blaming somebody else? So when criticism comes our way, we turn those jackal ears out. All right, I'm now going to move to another chair. And this is called the blame self chair. So I'm going to take these jackal ears and I'm going to face them in towards me. So Jiva, make it really good. That wasn't good enough. Make a juicy criticism of your mom. Okay, come on. You can do it.
You got an F in English because you don't know what a pronoun is and you're really stupid. Even a kindergartner knows what a pronoun is.
Okay, so when I wear these jackal ears facing towards myself, then I'm in the blame myself seat. Oh my God, I'm so terrible. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Yeah, like, I don't know what a pronoun is. Yeah, that's right. Like, I'm such a sham. I just pretend like I know everything. But like, the actual truth is, like, I have so much self-doubt about myself. Like, I really think, like, I'm just a huge imposter. Like, I just pretend I should never have been born. Okay, so do you ever suffer from self-doubt, blame yourself? When somebody criticizes you, you're just like, oh yeah, that's right. You take it in. So we're going to move from those to the empathic ways to respond. Okay, so let me take off the giraffe ears.
You mean the jackal ears?
Oh, sorry. The jackal ears. And I'm going to move to the empathy for myself chair, because guess what? Charity begins at home. If I cannot be kind to myself, I cannot be kind to anybody else. So first, I'm going to give myself empathy. And so to give myself empathy, I'm going to turn these ears, the giraffe ears, inside. So they're facing me, my giraffe ears. And this is the last criticism you're going to bring on. Okay, so I want this to be good. Some criticize me as a mom or something.
You're super annoying because you never let me do what I want. Like when I want to play more video games, you never allow me because you just don't know how it is to be a kid because you're so old and you probably saw the pyramids of Egypt was made or something. I don't know. And you're always like saying I got to do all these chores. So you're really lazy because you make me do all the chores.
Okay. So self-connection is the basis of connecting with others. When some criticism comes my way, I need to ground down into my own roots. And from that place of groundedness, I may move to empathy for another person, but not until I'm feeling empathy for myself. So this is my internal process, self-empathy, the giraffe ears facing towards me. When I hear my son say, you're never listening to what I say, and you're the worst mom. Feelings. I feel pain because I have such a need for connection, love, appreciation, to matter, to be valued. So connecting and providing empathy for my own unmet needs and what's alive for me in this situation. And when I ground down and I connect with, wow, I'm really feeling pain. I'm really feeling agitated because I so yearn for loving relationships. From that place of having given myself empathy, I might be able to move to the fourth chair with the giraffe ears facing out towards Jiva. Yeah. So whatever comes my way, I can process it with these this high-tech technology, these giraffe ears. So now I can connect with his feelings and needs. So Jiva, I'm wondering, when you say, I don't listen to you and I never let you play video games, I'm wondering if what's really alive for you is you want some choice. You want some autonomy in how you spend your time.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Because all my friends are on, and you only let me have like 3 seconds.
So, time out. What did I do? I connected with his feelings and his needs. Need for choice, need for autonomy. These are beautiful human needs. No matter how he expresses himself, you're the worst mom, you da 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 da. There's the assumption of innocence. There's a beautiful human need this human being is trying to meet. Okay, so now I'm going back into the role. Oh, so you really want to connect with your friends.
Yeah.
You want to have this time to play with your friends because you really value connecting. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so time out. Connection. Is that a beautiful human need? Is that a need I can relate to? Hell yeah. I have a need for connection too. So I connected with his need and he said, yeah. Right? So no matter what the word somebody uses, we look beyond the words when we have this high-tech technology, these giraffe ears facing out. All we can hear is, please meet my need. I have a beautiful human need. Assume my innocence, know my innocence. That's all we hear when we have this high-tech technology on. Okay, so I'm back in the role. Yeah, so I'm just really hearing how much you want to have choice in how you spend your time. You want to connect with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what else is alive for you?
I wanna be like, I forgot the word. Like, I don't want to be excluded in the group or whatever.
Ah, so you really want to be included.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the only weirdo that doesn't know anything about Fortnite and that doesn't play Fortnite, and the only 12-year-old that doesn't have a phone. You really want to feel that you belong. Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so notice I connected with belonging, inclusion. Are these human needs I can relate to? Absolutely. So I'm out of the role play now. This is the beauty of empathic communication, that no matter what words somebody uses, we connect with the beauty of the human need underneath. So there are 4 steps of nonviolent communication. The observation, which we first discussed. When I hear you say, you are a terrible mom, that's something that we can observe with the video camera. Those were his words, or I think those were his words. I feel hurt because I have such a need for connection. And then we always make requests. We never make demands. No rewards and consequences. We don't bring up children or anybody with rewards and consequences. We only make requests for people to willingly contribute to our needs. And they have the choice not to meet our needs. We find other ways to get our needs met. So I'm actually going to skip this. Oh, I'm gonna just skip that. And then I want to pause there. And that was a lot to digest. It would really contribute to me if you would tell me how this is landing for you or any questions you have.
I can, oh, I can go ahead actually.
I was going to say, I really appreciated the talk and the fact that you made it interactive. Attention span is something these days which is actually really hard to hold on to. And I think keeping it interactive, at least for myself, made it such that I got a lot more out of it.
Thank you. thank you for sharing how it landed for you and that you felt engaged, because attention spans are, yeah, totally reducing and declining. And so the fact that this was interactive really contributed to your need for engagement. Thank you. Manya?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I noticed that I'm in the zone of like blaming oneself, and for the longest time, I thought that was like a giraffe thing to do. And just seeing that difference from moving to like not blaming others, but then not even blaming myself, but being like kind to myself. And that was like, wow, I need to practice more of that. So I was wondering if you had any tips to kind of move past the blaming, but being more empathetic to ourselves and then being able to give back to the other person after that.
Yeah, so it's like a muscle that you develop. It doesn't develop overnight, right? It's like going to the gym and doing your reps. So, unfortunately, we get conditioned to blaming ourselves. And sometimes we come to a spiritual path and we think, oh, that's humility, actually. But there's a difference. The self-blame is actually self-absorption. And it's not exactly humility, the best I know of what humility is. So this muscle of self-compassion, fueled by this intense desire for growth, is truly a muscle, and we develop it over time. And empathic communication is not something we learn overnight. It's a practice. So you asked how to, and I think the best answer I have how to is I'm going to share this link to a WhatsApp group and invite you to join if you feel inspired to. It's called the Empathic Living Community WhatsApp group. And this is something that my husband and I host, and we share information about support groups and courses and book clubs that we do, just because this takes practice to move away from patterns of self-blame or blaming others. Both take practice. And take support. It takes support from a supportive community, from a community of people that are also wanting to practice moving away from self-blame. So that's the best I know how to, Manya, how to move away from self-blame is practice, read these books on empathic living. Yeah. How's that landing for you?
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I just joined the community and I'm excited.
I'm not trying to do this as an ad, I'm only trying to do this.
Yes.
This is where, in my opinion, we're able to bring things to life and integrate.
Mm.
So I am aware of the time and I want to be respectful of your time. So I'm going to close. Thank you for your attention. And I want to link this to our spiritual practice, because this is a group of spiritually minded people. So like, how does empathic communication fit into all of this? So I have personally been on a spiritual journey for the last 22 years. And for a long time, I found there was quite a disconnect in these values of respect and compassion and tolerance and forbearance and patience that are glorified within spiritual communities. I longed for those. I yearned to see everybody equally and to have love in my heart and compassion. And I didn't know how to bring these practices to life in my daily interaction, how to manifest love, where the rubber meets the road. And what I have found with empathic communication are these tools, 1, 2, 3, 4, because somehow, we're all, like you said, Ayan, our attention spans are short, and we kind of want these how-tos and these quick fixes. And I mean, these are not quick. They take a long time to practice, but at least they're like how to, step by step, practice this model. And it helps to manifest love in our interactions. It helps to bring unity and diversity and all these concepts to life. So this is why I'm here. I'm here because I have found immense benefit in my spiritual journey by using the tools of empathic communication. And so I just want to share what has benefited me and what I'm currently working on, what I'm learning every day and I'm failing at. And then I get back up and I try it again. And then I fail again. And my kids are extremely kind and forgiving. And then they're like, I was apologizing to my son on Sunday for an interaction that just, in my opinion, was not respectful. And he's like, Mommy, nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. So my kids are extremely forgiving. And this is something I'm working on. And therefore, I'm here sharing it with you. So I'm extremely grateful for you entertaining me for an hour and for tolerating my presence and for making me part of your community. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Shrey. This was absolutely wonderful. And like Ian said, the props, it just made it so interactive. And I totally love that. And Jiva, like you were amazing too. Just seeing your interaction. I was like, this is such a great bonding activity too. And we all definitely learned so much, and there's so much to learn. And we're so grateful to have you join us and teach us about how to communicate more empathetically and just being more kind. So truly, thank you so much. And I do see in the chat, Nidhi saying they're learning from you. And thank you everyone who's on the Zoom call and on YouTube for joining us live today for Wisdom Wednesdays. I do want to mention that we have a gong event, a sound immersion event at Bhakti Studio this Thursday. And then we have our weekly Kirtan Soul Fest on Saturday. And I've put the RSVP links for that in the chat. So hopefully we'll see you soon, this week or next week on Wisdom Wednesdays. All right. Thank you, everyone.